Good evening and welcome back to In the Know once again with the Racing Post and Coral. My name is Ross Brierley and we're in the studio again to look ahead to an absolutely scintillating Saturday of action from Cheltenham and Doncaster. Of course, it is Cheltenham Trials Day, which we didn't have last year, and my word, it cost those British trainers at the festival itself. So fingers crossed that Cheltenham might well get some spring hopefuls fit and ready for the big races in March. But of course, tomorrow's races are very good ones to win in their own right. Not only at Cheltenham, as I said, also over at Doncaster. We've got 7 Grade 2s spread across the 2 cards to get stuck into, as well, of course, as plenty of decent handicaps. It's a big day for a few people. Of course, JP and Nicky Henderson will be hoping that Champ and Chantry House can throw down their big challenges to the races come the second week in March, and some Grade 2s over at Doncaster as well. We'll know a little bit more about the juveniles, and we've got a 2.5 mile handicap chase at Cheltenham, one of those races that they do every month or so. Oddly enough, this race traditionally has been a pointer to a Gold Cup or a King George. Frodon, of course, and the Giant Bolster in the last 10 years have won it after stepping up in trip. So possible graded clues in that. The Sky Bet Chase, of course, at Doncaster as well is an absolute cracker this time around. The only thing that's missing is a few winners. So stick with us over the next hour and hopefully we will point you in the right direction. Thanks for watching. It is live and interactive, of course, so like and subscribe to that stream. Go on, press the thumbs up right now and get involved on that YouTube stream and get your selections in the chat box as well. We will give you a shout out at the end of each preview. And don't forget, of course, to gamble responsibly as well. That's what you can afford on the weekends racing here at Cheltenham and Doncaster and beyond. I'm in the hot seat then presenting, and as ever, I'm joined by a stellar lineup of the finest minds that we could find at 6 p.m. on a Friday. And of course, to my left, the one and only, the man, the myth. It's Mr. Paul Kealy.
The myth.
The myth. There you go. Yeah.
I like that.
Many myths about you, Paul.
Yeah, well, most of them are true. Well, the bad ones, anyway.
Yes, absolutely. We didn't have, of course, the weather scuppered Cheltenham Trials Day.
It's hard to believe, isn't it?
it?
It's hard to believe, isn't it? It was absolutely bottomless and unraceable for the whole of January last year, and now here we are on what's going to be pretty quick ground by the looks of it. Yeah. It's strange, isn't it? But it's barely rained in January, is it?
I think it's going to be sort of 10 or 12 degrees tomorrow,
yeah,
isn't
exactly. 10 or 12 degrees, nice and warm, bit windy. Not your normal winter ground. So we've probably got, we've got smaller fields everywhere because of it. Well, we don't get massive fields for Grade 2s anyway, do we?
No, true.
In general, but yeah, strange to be looking out for good ground horses in January.
Yeah, and we've got most. I mean, the vast majority of the races are decent matchups. Of course, Champ is likely to be hard to beat, but the rest of them are pretty much wide open.
Yeah, I mean, apart from that, there's probably no foregone conclusions, are there? There's a few shorties, but I mean, there are horses to take them on with if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul Kealy then in the studio and live from home. He said he'll come in when Sue Gray finally publishes that report. So fingers crossed at some point. It is, of course, Tom Segal.
Yeah, it looks like the police are saving me from coming in, doesn't it? Good work from Cressida Dick and her pals for one.
You're in the know and back to being in the dark there, Tom. It's
it's like I'm in 1923, isn't it? Look at the state of it.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, go and pour yourself a Manhattan, and we'll have a little dance. But how are you doing? Tomorrow's cards, plenty to get stuck into.
Yeah, I mean, I think Phil said it. And not much quantity, loads of quality. 6 Cheltenham Festival winners, a Paddy Power winner, a Gold Cup runner-up, all on the Cheltenham card. Plenty of good horses to look at. I'm not sure there's that many races I'm going to get stuck into betting-wise because of the small fields and the sort of crappy nature of them, but the handicaps are really good, aren't they? And the Sky Bet at Doncaster are a really good race, one of the best handicaps this season, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul and Tom then hopefully picking out a few winners, and we might have a few, and definitely have a few price boosts from Simon Clare, Cheltenham and Doncaster. It's always whenever Cheltenham's on, there's always seems to be Doncaster on a Saturday. It's they've got a nice little pairing going on.
Yeah, they have. I mean, look, the Doncaster, the Sky Bet Chase is always a good feature handicap at this time of year, and the Cheltenham card is just strong, isn't it? Lots of interesting points towards the festival, good horses running. And as always, we got our fail to finish offer. on various races. If your horse doesn't finish a race, you get a money back as a free bet up to £10, and the Racing Super Series with a chance to win 25 grand. You've got to pick placed horses in 7 races. Again, you can find that all on the website. But there will be a few in the know specials, really good boosts, which I'm sure the pundits will celebrate with me. And
that's normally how it goes, isn't it, Simon? That's normally how it goes.
Exactly. But no, I'm really looking forward to it. It's a great card at Cheltenham.
Absolutely, yeah, and fingers crossed. Next time you can buy Tom the same light that you're using, because you're beautifully lit there, Simon.
Thank you.
So we'll be getting stuck into that a little bit later on, of course. A few offers for you here at the Racing Post, of course, as well. We've got a members club offer for you to get stuck into. So make sure you stay ahead of the field here with the Racing Post. We've got all the stories, all the replays, all the tipping as well for just £15 a month for the first 3 months. If you click the link in the description on that YouTube link. So £15 per month for the first 3 months if you use the link in the description. And you get the thoughts of Paul and Tom before they have even thought them. If that's not worth £15 a month, I don't know what is. Let's get stuck in then, shall we? Cheltenham and Doncaster, mainly Cheltenham, of course. And like I said, the vast majority of these races at this time of year, people are too busy lining up the anti-post slips and rather than looking at the races themselves. And a few people will be looking at the Triumph and thinking it's possibly a winnable race this year. And we've got a couple of live challengers for the trial at Cheltenham tomorrow in the shape of Pied Piper, who's even money favourite, and Iseo at 7-4. Interne de Civilla is 11-2. Forever William 12-1. Moulin Claremont is 16-1. 20-1 Silver Shade and 50-1 bar those. I was talking to Paul off air about the Triumph this year, and often there's 5 or 6 and you think it's hard to split them, but it looks a pretty weak lineup so far this season. We're waiting for, apart from Phil Dawes, something to come out and throw down a real gauntlet.
Yeah, I don't think anything's blown anyone out of the water yet, have they? I mean, Fidor is one of those where he's beat the same horse twice. Hate those single lines of form, and I know he did it. He won by more and by further the second time at Leopardstown last time, but it was a terrible time. It was the worst time of all the 2-mile races on the card by some way. So you just don't know, do you? So it is open. Obviously, he seems to be the number one as far as Gordon Elliott's concerned, which is why Pied Piper's a rare Irish runner on this card. They normally just get entered in handicap, see what their mark is, and then get put away for the festival, don't they? But Pied Piper comes here. He won his maiden. I thought he was probably a shade fortunate to do so. Vauban had jumped the last. I think he'd have won. I think he'd have won quite comfortably. I don't know about him. He's okay. He's probably almost the best form in the race, I suppose, because I do like Vauban. They pull well clear. But I think it's probably a little bit more open. Isao's got to give £3 for having having won twice. Was really, really impressive at Kempton, but has beat absolutely nothing. And my worry with him is that he was hooded first time out for Paul Nicholls. He wasn't hooded in France when he ran, because I went and looked back and watched that race, and he was incredibly keen. And obviously 2 mile round there, 2 mile 1 at Cheltenham uphill for the last furlong. Just wonder how he'd get on. As long as 8 go, I'd back Interne de Civilla. I thought he was really impressive at Cheltenham last time. Now, I know the time of that race was bad because he was allowed to do his own thing and nobody put it to him, but I'm also pretty sure he was by miles the best horse in the race anyway.
Is there a chance the same thing could happen again?
I don't know. Iseo went on at Kempton, didn't he? And he was very free in doing so. And I'm sure Interne de Civilla will happily take a lead. I don't think he needs or wants to make the run, and it's just how it worked out last time. So maybe they'll go a bit faster. We'll find. But I think he's only had 2 runs in his life. With Nick Williams, they tend to start slowly and improve dramatically, and he's done that from run 1 to run 2. So there's no reason why he can't do it again. The trainer's won this race twice in the last 8 years or so. So, as long as all 8 go, I think he's a fairly solid each-way bet.
Okay, there you go. Interne de Civilla then 11-2. I was going to say they won it last year, but of course there wasn't last year. He won it with Galahad Quest back in 2020. So 11-2, the each-way thievery of the race then, Tom, for Interne de Civilla. What did you make of this lot? Is it just a 3-horse race? Can Moulin Claremont improve on better ground? Can Forever William boost that Chepstow form?
No, I didn't think so, really, Ross. I thought. Personally, I think Pied Piper will win, and he'll win easily. I think he's really good. I think the form from the Irish race is really good. I think Keels is spot on with Vauban. I think those 2 I just think it's a different class to these ones. I think they'll end up both running in the Triumph Hurdle, and I think they'll both be in the first three in the market in the Triumph Hurdle come the day. I think Pied Piper was really impressive. I understand he's come on a lot, and the reason he's coming here rather than sticking for the Grade 1 in Ireland is because they've got Phil Dorr, same ownership, and they think this one's likely to like the better ground better than Phil Dorr. I'm pretty sure they think Phil Dorr's a soft ground horse. Whether they'll get that at Leopardstown, I don't know, but they're definitely not going to get it at Cheltenham tomorrow. So he's a 96 rated flat horse. I know his best flat form was on soft ground, but I thought he jumped really well for a debutant. I think he's going to beat this lot. I think he'll just be different class myself.
Okay, yeah, I guess that is the question. I mean, he's won 3 races, Pied Piper, hasn't he? 2 on the flat, 1 over hurdles, all 3 on heavy ground. Do you think he's a horse who, he doesn't need it, he just happened to win on it? But that if you're just looking at the form book, that is a concern a little bit for tomorrow.
Well, it is a concern, but his pedigree isn't one. He's a flat-bred horse, and he's my new approach. I can't believe that the ground tomorrow it's not going to be fast, is it?
He had some fairly solid handicap form on Good to Firm in the summer as well, didn't he? It's not like he was running rubbish on it, So.
No, I just think there's a chance he just could be very good, isn't there? And there's a chance we could be sitting here talking about the Triumph Hurdle favourite after the race. That's the way I'm looking at it. But then he's even money, so I totally get why you might want to look elsewhere on the price basis. I don't think Forever Williams in the same class. I think he might want it a bit softer, and he looks more like a Fred Winter Boodles or whatever it's called now race. One of those. Silver Shade was quite impressive, but he's miles behind Pied Piper on the flat. And the thing that I liked about Pied Piper was the jumping. I thought he jumped really well for a flat horse first time up. I think, Davy Russell's coming over. Could have had loads of rides at wherever it was, Fairy House tomorrow. He's coming over for the one. I just think he'll probably be too good for them.
Okay, Pied Piper even money then. KO 7-4 in turn to Civil 11-2. I've actually backed to KO Antipost with the Triumph just because the speed of it was so good at Kempton, and I thought if he does come out and win again, he's at least going to halve in price. I thought he might have gone for a slightly lesser event, but I guess it's going to be a bit boom or bust with that Antipost bet, that's for sure. And Moulin Claremont did a good figure as well, but he's another one who's only really proven in soft ground. But Pied Piper even money here than Simon, and they don't seem to be backing much against him.
No, he's quite strong. He was 5-4 earlier, shortened into even money. He's the one horse really being backed, and it's a race which has thrown up 2 of the last 6 Triumph Hurdle winners, and Defi Desoy and Peace and Co. Vauban, who he beat, maybe fortunately last time out, is 7-1 second favourite for the Triumph. So it really is, a sort of focus on that front end of the market. If you do want to do the special double to win tomorrow and win the Triumph, is 18-1. Pied Piper 14-1. Isio, slightly interesting. Isio is shorter in the Triumph betting at 10 currently, and Pied Piper 14-1, and yet they're the other way round tomorrow. That may just be one of those, anachronisms that hasn't straightened out because of the pricing in tomorrow's race. I don't know, but anyway, I think Pied Piper looks like he probably will be tough to beat. But if he doesn't win it, you'd almost think ECO's the other most progressive one. But it's a good betting race, not on ITV, so the racing TV viewers get to see this one.
Yeah, Pied Piper even money. Then I guess there's a possibility with the ownership that Pied Piper could win this and still not go to Cheltenham, and they just leave it to the other one. But the Triumph Trial at Cheltenham then tomorrow. Paul Kealy, what's the bet?
The bet for me is going to be in turn to Civil each way. I think Pied Piper is the most likely winner. And on my racing TV, I'm going to have to plug my laptop into my new Sky Glass because I just had that installed yesterday and found out afterwards they don't have racing TV on it. I was absolutely fuming.
Absolutely. I mean, I know it's tough times at the moment, Paul, and people really. I mean, that's
proper first world problems, that, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You can watch all races free on coral.co.uk. You don't have to have a bet.
That's very true. I want it on a big screen though.
There you go.
Okay, I can't help.
So if anyone lives near Paul, please go around and fix his telly. But Tom,
fixable.
What wins the 12:45 tomorrow?
What did I say? Pied Piper.
Pied Piper, it is.
One.
To lead them all into the river, and I will go for a KO in the vain hope that anti-post bet isn't blown out of the water tomorrow as well. And Simon?
Yeah, Pied Piper for me. Couple of in the no specials. Pied Piper to win by over 4 lengths, 7-2 from Freeze, and IKO, that's the way you pronounce it, to win by over 4 lengths is 9-2 from 4.
Thank you very much. A few prize boosts for you there. Quite a few people are all over Pied Piper on the chat. And what about a Pied Piper champ Miranda treble, says Sam Caney. Good luck with that one. Next up for us, we are sticking with Cheltenham. A very different kettle of fish here, though. A novices handicap chase over 2.5 miles. And joint favourites here in the shape of When You're Ready and Oscar Elite at 4-1. 9-2 Beakstown, 6-1 Your Darling. Imperial Alcazar is 13-2. Solo at 13-2. Java Point 8-1. And the outsider is Go a Lil at 10-1. Nice little shape for this novices handicap chase, and a variety of profiles in the race for horses here. The likes of Oscar Elite, who of course last spring was placing in 2 Grade 1s over hurdles. So far, it's everything that could go wrong has gone wrong for Oscar Elite, Tom, and he's up against some hardened handicappers. Again, are you with the ones who've shown their form, or do you think there's improvement to come for a few?
Well, I think we should start with Simon personally, because this Oscar Elite is from his Colin Tizard blog. He can tell us the inside story side. What's the news on this Oscar Elite?
Yeah, I mean, in the blog, Joe thinks he'll go well. He's the best chance of a winner. The stable's running so much better now than even it was, a month ago. I think they've had 6 winners from 20-odd runners. It's chalk and cheese from the form they had around Christmas time. So I think now they're really hopeful that he can run a big race off that mark, given the form he showed in the spring. And he's acted well on this kind of ground. But, he's one of those horses, you could keep going over a cliff with him and he might not win. But I think tomorrow they're quite hopeful.
Yeah, he's fallen, he's bled, he's gone off too fast and bombed out. But I guess if you want an attractive handicap mark, things going wrong in your qualifiers isn't that bad an angle, really, Tom. But there's a bit of faith needed.
Yeah, he's not one for me, considering given his profile. But I understand that he ran very well, didn't he? At the Albert Bartlett, he ran so well in last year, and he's got very classy form, back form. He hasn't done it over fences yet, but he could be well handicapped. Keels will have. This is a race from the past that Keels has studied like a Inspector Clouseau. He's found more winners in this than any race probably in the calendar. So I'm going to leave it to him. But I understand you're a big fan of Beakstown, aren't you, Keels?
I am, mate. Yeah, unfortunately, he was actually the outsider of the field when I was looking at the race this morning. He's closing in on favouritism now. I think it's probably where he should be in the market now. But yeah, this race, I used to get well into this race because this race was one of the best trials for the festival, but now it's no longer a trial for anything because they managed to get rid of the best betting race at the festival. Thinking about us punters and sticking a silly mares race for Willie Mullins to win instead. That was good.
What's more annoying, that or the Sky Glass?
That is far more annoying than Sky Glass. I can get over that, but I used to make loads of money out of the novice handicap at the festival. Anyway, I think this race has suffered a little bit for it, and I don't think many of them are as progressive as you used to looking at in here. So I thought Beakstown, okay, he's 9 years old, but he's £9 lower than when he was 5th to Imperial Aura in that novice handicap a couple of years ago. He had best part of 2 years off, and he has shaped really well all 3 starts. That included when 9th here in one of the big handicaps. He was actually making stealthy headway on the outside before he really went straight through the 4th last. Came back on the bridle, but I think he just paid for that in the straight by the time he'd caught up again. And last time he ran into a horse called Ern River, who hasn't lost a race since his racecourse debut in 2020. And had just got into it on a ridiculously good handicap mark, and I wouldn't hold it against him there. And the other thing about Beakstown, of course, is he hasn't run on good ground since his novice hurdles days, and he was 2 from 2 on good ground. Best run by a mile over hurdles was when he won at Leamington at Warwick on good ground, a Grade 2. So that could be in his favour. 2, like I said, he's £9 lower than at the festival 2 years ago. He's got Jack Andrews taking £5 off. Just think he could be exceptionally well treated. And I think he's been running well enough. If he puts, if he gets over the fences okay, and in this smaller field he should do, I think it's a lot of being.
Okay, very well. Beakstown is a 9-2 shot at the moment. I was quite interested in Your Darling here, who's won twice on good ground over hurdles, and they went off at an insane gallop at Kempton last time out, and Kevin Brogan, when the leader disappeared, decided to continue that and burnt this horse out. But interesting if I think he's ridden a little bit more with restraints. But an open novices handicap chase here, Simon. You told us about Oscar Elite. Anything else betting-wise for us?
Yeah, Paul spotted it. Beakstown's been really well backed. I think it was 8-1, a couple of hours ago. He's now 9-2. Dan Skelton in his blog for Ladbrokes felt that they really fancied him last time out, actually, and they felt he bumped into one last time. He put in a nice run to jumping, and Dan says he'll love the better grounds. I think he looks like he's going to keep attracting support. Oscar Elite, obviously, I mentioned. Just quite interesting. No favourites have won this in the last 9 runnings of the race, which is, I suppose it is a trappy race. We don't even know who's going to start favourite by the look of the betting at the moment. There's 3 horses closing in around the 4-1 mark. But, I think Oscar Elite and Beakstown seem to be the best back of the field.
Okay, very well. But and Paul Kealy, Beakstown, carry in your cash.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, very well. And I will go with your darling. Simon, any angle for you?
Oscar Elite's got a favourite. Got to keep backing the Tizard horses now they're in form.
Okay, very well. Oscar Elite then it is. That's the time for novices at handicap chase. Quite a few. Darren Gilbert's with your darling. Hugh Masson thinks that Beakstown doesn't find enough off the bridle. Smoking Gamers goes for Imperial Alcazar, and he's happy with your frustrations over the abandonment of the novices handicap chase. Of course, this race threw up one of the best anti-post bets you've ever had back in 2020, did it? So it's a shame we can't repeat that again this spring. But we can't watch racing TV on Paul's telly, so luckily we can watch the 155 though, because it's on one of the old 4 channels. And the Paddy Power Cheltenham podcast, Handicap Chase, is a really, really open one here, and we've seen quite a bit of cash for a few of these. Faraday was a fairly clear favourite when I was looking at it earlier on this morning, and there's been moves for a variety of horses. Torn and Frayed being one of those who's now joined Faraday and Galahad Quest at the top of the betting. 5-1 co-favourites. 13-2 Cool Cody, Magic Saint 13-2, Whatmore 7-1, returning off a monster absence. Jackamar 8-1, Spirit of the Games running on when it's all too late, hitting the front and then getting past probably at 12-1, and bigger prices the rest. This is a proper Cheltenham handicap chase, and like I said, Frodon's won this, the Giant Bolster's won this, so as with all these handicaps, it can be a path to bigger and better things. And there's some unexposed sorts in here. You've got the classic Venetia Williams angle as well with Faraday.
Yeah, I mean Faraday's the one to oppose for a place, isn't he? I mean, he's just a terrible price. He is an out and out heavy ground horse. He just wants it bottomless. And he ran in one of the big handicaps here 2 starts ago. Now he might be fitter now, but I mean, halfway he was on his ear when he's just not fast enough for 2 mile 5 furlong on fast ground. He wants it bottomless. He only started to get going up the hill at Sandown, didn't he? Last time. So
his Sandown to Cheltenham form never really works that well, does it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just such a difference in ground. So I can't really see that. I mean, I think Lucy Turner's very, very well, very good value for a £7. She nearly stole a good race at Ascot last week. But even so, I just don't think the ground is right for him. So. I'm going for a more exposed pair. I actually put 2 horses up in the weekend on Wednesday, Magic Saint and Whatmore, and I thought, well, I'll back Magic Saint because I think that one will really shorten, and I'll leave Whatmore because I don't know what they're going to do with him, and I can't see the money coming for him. And Magic Saint has been drifting all day, and Whatmore's now half the price he was and I haven't had been on, so I called that really, really well. But I don't understand the drift on Magic Saint. I just think he's extremely, extremely well handicapped. His better form is arguably at 2 miles. He's obviously run some really, really good races around Cheltenham at 2 miles of much higher marks, but he was second, giving chunks of weight away last April off a £10 higher mark. And he bounced back to form last time, went 4th to Vienna Court. OK, he was beating a fair way, but the ground was soft. It's much quicker this time, which will suit him. Tom Buckley comes on and claims the £5 again. I think he's very, very well handicapped. I mean, someone did say to me, well, what if he drops another couple of pounds and then they put him in the Grand Annual of 145 or something? But, I don't think Paul Nicholls' mind doesn't work like that. He likes to win races. He likes to send them out to be competitive. So, I'm happy enough to go in again now that he's drifted. And Whatmore was just one of those that he's just got a really, really good record of running well when fresh. And again, he wasn't. He was 4th to Imperial Aura in that race years ago. He probably does want 3 mile now, as his trainer says, but he tends to be fairly fresh first time out as well. So I think he'll be okay. And he just does run. He's got 2 career bests first time out. The last couple of seasons, he's won off various breaks in his career. I think he'll run well off a fair handicap mark, but it is wide open.
It is, although I'm starting to get into the mind of Paul Kealy here. Imperial Aura landed a big touch for him at Cheltenham. Who was 4th? Whatmore. Who was 5th? Beakstown. So we're following that form ride 2 years later and hoping it keeps paying.
Who was second?
Who was second, Galvin?
Oh, there you go. Wasn't bad form, was it?
No, absolutely. You backed him for the Gold Cup?
No, but I am toying with it.
Yeah, well, we've got to now, haven't we? Tournament Frey, Galahad Quest and Faraday all 5-1 then here, Tom. A couple of handicappers for Keels. What did you like in this?
Well, my main fancy, and has been all week, was Torn and Frayed, but he was 20-1 when I started looking at him, and he's now favourite. So for all those that haven't got any big prices, I don't think he's very good value now. He's just a novice in handicap company. I was impressed with the way he jumped behind Favois at Ascot, and I liked him behind My Drogo over course and distance. Here, earlier in the season, I think the ground's very, very much what he needs. Good ground. Whether he's well handicapped, I don't know. He only won at Fakenham and Hereford. He's up against proper, Cheltenham-style horses here. Cool Cody, Magic Saint Watmore, they're proper horses. Whether he should be a 5-1 shot, I don't know. But I have backed him, and I think he'll run really well if he gets the run of the race. The other one is what, like Keel said, I like Magic Saint from the top of the weights. 56 grand for the winner of this race. I'm not sure, if they're playing, Paul Nicholls and his pals are playing, get a couple of pounds down to try and win a much harder race for 10 grand more. I think he's playing the wrong game, because this is a very winnable race, and it's very valuable. And I think Magic Saint, I think people are worried slightly about the trip, and I am slightly worried about the trip, but I think the key to him's the ground. The better the ground, the better he is. As Gill said, he's £5 lower than when he beat Fanny and Destraval. So he's clearly got a good form chance. I kind of like, once again, why is the drift? I don't know. Maybe they think that he's not going to get home. But for me, those were my two. They've ended up, Torn and Freyd's ended up probably the worst value in the race, but I think Magic Saint has suddenly become the best value in the race. So I've got one in both camps.
Okay, there we go. Cheltenham 155. Then I was really keen on Torn and Freyd, but he's running some absolute monsters over fences, hasn't he? And he looks very well handicapped on that. Obviously, My Drogo, Annual Invictus. That Annual Invictus race was fantastic. Witness protection, back on the lash, and you say about well handicapped. I mean, and he only won at Fakenham, Tom, but he beat a horse called Take Your Time by 20 lengths, who won a handicap at Chepstow 126 back in December. So 131, I thought looked a nice bit of handicapping. So fingers crossed his bold jumping style will get Torn and Freyd into the mix here for this 155. But he's been very well back, Simon.
Yeah, he has. I must admit, it's fascinating, because I was looking at this race and looking at sort of the weights. Twice in the last 7 years, the top weight 11 stone 12 was won. 5 of the last 7 years, horses carrying 11 stone 7 or more. It really does point towards the classier horses. There's only 2 horses 11-7 and above, and that's Magic Saint and Cool Cody. And yet Magic Saint is drifting. I can't really get it, because he's £10 lower, as Paul said, than the form in April. Goes well for a claimer. I wonder whether the reason he's drifting is mainly because of the support for other horses. Torn and Freyd has been well back. Galahad Quest has been well back. There has been money for Watmore. And actually, just by virtue of not being backed, he's being pushed out. So he could shorten tomorrow. But I thought he was the one that sort of really stood out to me. Again, Galahad Quest, Faraday, I think, wants softer ground. Possibly Watmore wants softer ground. This good ground's going to be a key to this race, in my view. And so I'm leaning firmly towards Magic Saint on the basis Cool Cody will probably run well again, but surely now for his highest ever mark, it's going to be hard for him to keep, to win this tomorrow. But interesting. I think there seems to be a lot of agreement on the panel.
Yeah. Although, I mean, the Cool Cody, just one of those horses that you think, we can't win off this mark, and then he does. And no, he can't win off this mark, and then he does. So I guess just a quick, we've got a lot of races to go through, but the reason Cool Cody does that partly is because of his run style over this course and distance. And Magic Saint, in contrast, is a bit of a hold-up horse. So you've always got to... Track position is huge, isn't it, over this course?
Yeah, of course it is. I think with, Cool Cody, he does wear his heart on his sleeve, though, doesn't he? And this be his 4th big handicap at Cheltenham in a row. It does take its toll, I think.
Yeah.
The New Year's Day handicap, 5 years in a row, it's been won by a horse who didn't run in either of the Gold Cup in December and the Paddy Power in November. So I just think just going to the World too often in this type of race is hard. But he's a tough little horse.
Fair enough then.
And he came back, didn't he, Ross? And I thought he ran his best race at the festival last year. He was 4th to the shunter, and he would have been 3rd with another stride. I thought, that was his best ever run, I thought. And that came after a hard season. I just don't, there's something about that race at Christmas, though, maybe it's the ground, that he just doesn't seem to perform at his best. He wasn't at his best this year, he wasn't at his best last year. But he could easily bounce back, because he's only £4 higher than when he won the other day, and he's only £4 higher when he was 4th in the Mildmare Fleet, or whatever it's called now. So I don't rule him out by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, it's impossible to rule a horse out who just keeps popping up at a decent price. And of course, New Year's Day, you might have had a big night on New Year's Eve. Who knows? But selections then for the 155. Paul Kealy.
Yeah, Magic Saint and what more?
Very well. I will go with Torn and Frayed, which you also fancy, Tom.
Yeah, I fancy Torn and Frayed. I'm disappointed in the price for all those punters that are just getting a hold of it now, but I think he'll run really well, yeah.
Okay, and I think Magic Saint in there as well. And Simon?
I'm definitely a Magic Saint fan. I might chuck if you could each way at Spirit of the Games. It was pretty madness, but they ran him over 3 miles last time, and as Dan said in his blog, yeah, they're a bit too aggressive with him. So back over, course and distance he likes. He could run quite well.
Very well. And Cool Cody for me says Adam Ent. As others we've got here, what have we got? What more in Spirit of the Games? Don't fancy it, says Hugh. Cool Cody to defy top weight, 2-headed horse. And Under Starters Orders has just joined us 34 minutes in, which is confusing given the name. But good luck with the bets here in this 155 as we move on for more Cheltenham action here. And it is, of course, the Cotswold Chase, Grade 2 here over the 3 miles, 1.5 furlongs. And it's a bit of a lopsided market, isn't it? With Cordo Rico, the outsider at 40s, Chantry House coming back after that shocking run in the King George at 10-11, and you've got Simply the Bets at 11-4 and I Right at 7-2, both hoping they can improve on their handicap form. And 2020 winner Santini at 10-1, second run for New Connection. So here we're going to have our old chat again here for I feel Keels. How good is Chantry House? I think we're both very much on different sides of the fence.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because I was dead against him in the King George because he'd become such a price based on, he's only rated 160. The horses had a good £10 better than him on form, and he was just shortening and shortening and shortening. One thing I say is, the Henderson stable they rarely get it as badly wrong as they got it there. Makes me think that there's something else going on, and I've been back and looked at him, and I don't think he likes going right-handed. He's got 2 wide margin wins to his name over fences, but if you re-watched them, the first one at Ascot, definitely he was on and off the bridle all the time, and he was even chivied along in that 2-runner race at halfway at Sandown. I have a feeling he wants to go left-handed. When you think that he actually pulled in the early stages of the JLT last year over a shorter trip, so he might be a bit of a monkey these days. I see they put cheek pieces on him. But Henderson was out saying this is definitely a Gold Cup horse. He's by Yates. I was worried about whether he actually did stay at Aintree last year, but it might just have been a long season and a bit of a hangover from Cheltenham. And yeah, he's worth another chance. I think he's better than these, and I think he'll probably win. Yeah,
he's cheap piece of song rated 160. Yeah, I mean, again, if I thought he was worth backing at sort of 4 or 5-1 in the King George, Tom, then. My mind's sort of saying this should be 1-2.
He went off 3s, didn't he?
Yeah. So he went off 3-1 favourite for the King George, and he did just never really seem to settle into it. But of course, I mean, like I said, this horse has got some rock solid form elsewhere. Are you giving him another chance?
Absolutely not. No.
Fair enough.
You've summed up. You've said it all along. Showed nothing at Kempton last time. Jumped all over the place. Everything went wrong. He was the first beat. I don't care whether it was right-handed, left-handed, straight line, round the bend, up a loop, the loop, whatever. He showed nothing. He showed absolutely nothing. He was horrible. He's got cheek pieces on. He's got a penalty, and he's odds on. Just everything about him makes me not want to back him. The problem is trying to find the one that will take advantage, because I'm not convinced they're definitely not Gold Cup horses. Santini was a Gold Cup horse. If he was to bounce back, I think 10-1 would be ridiculous, because I think he's better than Chantry House, personally. But we don't know what form he's in. I Right, I think, is the solid one, because he's just going to go out front and jump and stay and do everything. Is he quite good enough? Don't know. Simply the Bets has to prove his stamina. I think he's probably the danger, because I think he's got some inherent class. So that was a really good run last time off top weight in the handicap. I know the Nichols and the Connections have always felt he'd be better over 3 miles, but this is 3 miles 1 and a bit. This is often a real stamina test. Having said that, the ground is in his favour. So, look, I think he's got loads of holes in him, Chantry. I don't even think his chase form from last year's that good. You know, you look at the Marsh, the favourite fell. You look at the Aintree race, I thought he was going to get beaten. Some other horse fell. I think everything just fell apart for him. I don't think he's yet proved himself a top class chaser. So I want to take him off on odds on. Happy to, he'd probably go and win by miles now, but with a pulled up next to his name and a P next to him with the one by cheap pieces, everything about him says I've got to take him on, and I like Simply the Bet.
Okay, very well. Simply the bet's 11-4, comprehensive.
It's another. They got the track configuration means it's another half furlong longer than advertised as well. So it's basically 3 mile 2 furlongs. It's a fair.
If he is a goal, he's got to be. He's got to be staying. He's got to be winning this comfortably.
Yeah,
hasn't
exactly.
he?
Yeah.
But the only thing, I mean, the other horse, of course, was outclassed at Kempton, Simon, and trained by Nicky Henderson. Ran an absolute shocker. Pulled up on the day. Came out next time out, lowered in grade, and bolted up. Was Mr. Fisher, and I wonder whether that Kempton race was such a brutal gallop that Chantry House might find this a little bit easier. So we've got all sorts of opinions here on the panel. Are you going to be on the fence to mix it up?
Well, what I would say, I thought Mr. Fisher ran well from much further in that King George. Actually, turning for home, he was bang there. So I think, like Tom said, Chantry House just was blown, was pulled up, turned around the back for the second time. That does happen at Kempton in the King George. Some horses just don't like Kempton; they bounce back. But here's a stat for you. I don't know why I looked at that. I looked at the favourites record in this race, which is always a small field, often attracts, a solid favourite looking for the Gold Cup. Santini was favourite 2020. The last favourite before Santini was 1999, Cypher Malta. Now, I don't know what that means, but it just suggests to me that this race is just one of those topsy-turvy races where the classy horse doesn't win. And when he's coming in with a P next to his name, surely Chantry House is the lay. Any bookie would definitely want to be laying him. He may win. To me, I looked at Simply the Bets has got a trip issue. Santini doesn't look as good as he was. That, to me, makes I Right look a really, really solid 7-2 chance. And I just think he's a knocking bet based on the profile of the race and the history of the race.
Okay, very well. There's strong opinions in the Cotswold Chase there for tomorrow's potential Gold Cup trial. By the sounds of things, I should back Chantry House to win and lay into place because it's going to go one of two ways. But Chantry House for me.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever backed a horse to win and laid it to place?
Because sometimes they do.
Yeah, there are some blowout potential horses, aren't there?
You've got occasionally like mad front runners where you think, well, if he gets taken on, he's going to completely spit out the dummy.
Yeah.
Of course, there are ones that. Just cling on for third. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, total disasters. Yeah, we've all done it.
But at least it'd be sure enough price. Chantry House for me, Keels.
Yeah, I think he'll probably win. I am not going to have a bet in the race, though.
No, fair enough. Tom, Segal.
Not Chantry House. Full stop.
Fair enough. Simon Clare.
I'm definitely going for I Right. I should say there is an in the know special for those who do like Chantry House. To win by over 5 lengths is 3-1 from 5-2.
Okay, let's do it. He's won by 37 and 32 lengths. He can win by 3. Why not? 5, sorry, not 3. 3-1 to win by over 5 lengths. Not 5-1 to win by over 3 lengths. Let's get that right. Okay, the Cotswold Chase then. Will Chantry House be the only favourite since Santini to win in the last 20 years, I think it is. 2:45 over at Doncaster. Remember Doncaster? We've got Doncaster on tomorrow. We're going to Yorkshire up to town more for a few races and the Albert Bartlett River Don Novices Hurdle here, potentially throwing up a contender for the Cheltenham Novice, albeit maybe not this year. Unanswered Prayers is 5-2 favourite for the race. My Bobby Dazzler at 4-1. Marlow Mission at 9-2. Not at present 6-1. Coolbane Boys 6-1. Bridge North 13-2. And the Real Whacker is the outsider of the lot at 9-1. I mean, we've had all sorts of horses win this race. We had Ramses Deteye win it a couple of seasons ago, a heavy ground chaser, Tom. We've had Ben Pauling, pretty much everything he runs seems to get involved, so not at present's got to have a chance. But I thought this was tough on paper, but every time I throw you something, you knock it right back at me. So I reckon you've got a strong opinion in this.
You're completely and utterly wrong. I have no opinion.
Of course I am.
I thought it was really hard. The one thing about this, every time I ever watch this River Don race, it goes to a bottomless stayer for some unknown reason. You think 3 miles around Doncaster, there'd be plenty of horses getting the trip there, but it just seems they just all seem to fall in a hole, turning for home, and it's been won by horses that just gallop and gallop and gallop. That does bring in Ben Pauling's horse, not at present because he's won over further and he definitely stays. But if you look at the market, it's like a dog race, isn't it? They're nearly all 6-1 or under. 8-1 the field. It's completely wide open. My personal feeling was I thought my Bobby Dazzler might win it because I thought he's a strong stayer that ran well in a good handicap last time, and that he would be my number one choice. But I thought it was really hard.
Okay, my Bobby Dazzler is 4-1. Yeah, of course, a horse who absolutely loves Aintree. So whether or not he might win this, and then of course go to Aintree for the 3 mile novice because that looks right up his street. He's a 4-1 shot here. Unanswered Prayers is the fairly well back favourite here. Chris Gordon, whose horses are in good nick. He had a horse absolutely bolt up the other day. Auckland Risk. It looks nice. The Yard in form.
Yeah, he's the Yard has been in form, and you say he's got a favourite shot. Just about has the best form, but I say I'm underwhelmed by all of them. I think it was an absolute miracle if any of these are proper Albert Bartlett horses. In terms of what they've done on RPRs, not one of them has come within £8 of the worst previous winner of this in the past 10 years, for instance. So something's got to step up. I came to the conclusion it might be Bridge North because I think he is absolutely crying out for 3 miles and he wants decent ground. Even the trainer says that last time at Ludlow, the ground was horrible for him. And if you look at him, he barely picks his legs up. He's not one of those that thump, as a high knee carriage, So I think he's going to be suited him. The only thing that worried me a little bit is it was heavily watered and it looked hard work at times today, and the times weren't particularly quick. But hopefully another day drying out, it'll be fine. It'll certainly be better ground than it was at Ludlow, and he will stay forever. Bridge North, is a typical Trevor Hemmings, stayer. He's going to be a staying chaser in time, and I think he'll be in his element. Whether it'll quite be good enough, I don't know, because he's got a bit to find on the book. But it is going to be a slog even on decent ground, and I think he'll be suited to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he comes from the family of No More Heroes, who won a Grade 1 over 3 miles in heavy ground. In fact, pretty much every single one of his relatives is a 3 mile horse. So, yeah, Bridge North will definitely improve for the step up in trip. But wide open stuff here, Simon. I mean, it's you don't have an extra. Have you got an extra place? I should check. You do. There we go.
We do. We're 3 places, not 2, so it's just handy when it's hard. When they've all got a chance of being in the places here, haven't they? Unanswered Prayers was a race I watched because there was a Colin Tizard horse in third called Bold Conduct, who actually ran quite well in third, but I just wondered whether the form was that strong. Whereas my Bobby Dazzler, running against experienced handicappers last time at Cheltenham, finishing 4th, I thought that was a really solid run. So he'd be probably my preference. But the one for money is Marla Mission, the one coming over from Ireland, who won at Sedgefield quite impressively. John McConnell's horse been well backed from about sort of 5-1, 11-2 into 9-2.
It could easily win that, couldn't it? But we really are in trouble if the 28th best staying hurdler in Ireland can win the race, wouldn't we?
Yeah, John McConnell is the kind of man you go to, but not too many Sedgefield to Cheltenham Festival forms.
No, but it still wouldn't surprise you. I don't think the race is that strong, but I mean, as an Irish horse, he'd probably be a long, long way behind the best they've got over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay then, lukewarm on the River Don tomorrow. Then, does anyone at home have a strong opinion? Ben Pauling always wins this race. Just back his. That is fair. He has won it 3 times in the past 10 years. And Paul Hayward says, "Agree, Paul." I assume with this one and not with yourself. So there you go. So not too many strong opinions then for the River Don. Let's go over to Cheltenham for more stayers, slightly more experienced ones, admittedly, for the Cleve Hurdle, where Champ is 8-15 favourite here. McFabulous 7-2, Paisley Park 9-2, Lisniger Oscar is 25-1, and Dandy Mag 50-1 outsider of the 5. We've got you a social poll on the stream at home. What horse are you most looking forward to seeing at Cheltenham tomorrow? And it's Champ for 47% of you, with Hillcrest and Ikeo, the next 3 in. So nobody likes Chantry House, do they, whatsoever? Really is. Even Ikeo has got more fans than Chantry House. But almost my contrary nature thinks I'm going to back you for the Gold Cup at this rate. But the Cleve Hurdle, of course, tomorrow, a Stayers Hurdle trial here. And we were talking about Chantry House possibly being a Gold Cup horse. Of course, Champ was talked about being a Gold Cup horse for a year or 2. And then Tom, he dropped back over hurdles last time out. And, he absolutely bolted up. He travelled, he jumped, he stayed. He was back to the hurdles form he was showing in the Sefton, of course. He's a classy horse, and he's taken another step towards what could be a really fascinating Stayers Hurdle this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Fav blew out yesterday or the day before, didn't it? Classical Dream. So it's more wide open than everyone was was thinking a few weeks ago, Champ was really impressive, wasn't he, at Ascot? You know, he thrashed Time Hill, I thought. You know, very, very easily. Pulled too hard, went round the outside. You know, there's every reason for him to check out, and he didn't. He's got abundant amount of stamina. I think he's miles better than these, isn't he, these days? I think Paisley Park's had his day, unfortunately. I think he probably needs softer ground now. Certainly, Lisner Oscar's not the horse that won the Stairs Hurdle back in the day. McFabulous is an interesting horse, but he has no form to match with Champ, in my opinion. I think can't win this. He's never going to win a Stairs, and I think only a fall or some mishap stop him winning. Really, I think he's nailed on.
8-15 then, Champ. You're a speed figure man, aren't you, Tom? And I was just looking. McFabulous though, he's one of the most consistent horses. I've got him running to a 66 or a 67 pretty much every time he turns up. No matter where he finishes, no matter what trip, what track, he runs the same race over and over again. Of course, if he does run the same race over again, he shouldn't beat Champ, should he?
No, that's the thing. Listen, I know Paul Nicholls thinks he's improved again this year. He definitely ran fine on his comeback run. He'll improve for that. You know, he might be the one to bustle up Champ, but on all known form, Champ's better than him. And I'd be surprised. I mean, he's not getting any weight. They both, Champ hasn't got they both of them are carrying 11 stone 6. So I can't see how any other result than Champ winning this.
Champ 8-15 then here for the Cleve Hurdle. He is of course a 10-year-old who's had a checkered career, so he's not he's not absolutely bomb-proof. But if he runs like he did at Ascot,
yeah, I mean he's obviously been very high class. He's just been a bit clumsy over fences, isn't he? I mean he roared up that hill to win the RSA, which he had no right to win jump in the last. And obviously beat a future Gold Cup winner and Ryanair winner to do so. So we all know he's got the ability. I thought he'd completely gone at the game, but he bounced back at Ascot last time. And like I said, they're either not good enough anymore, your Paisley Parks and your Lisner Oscars, or they don't stay. I mean, I thought when McFarlane's ran over 3 mile at Newbury, he just definitely didn't stay. So they're having another.
He was in front 2 out, travelling on the bridle.
Yeah, exactly. He just didn't get home. Now he may be a stronger and better horse now, but I don't think we've seen any evidence that he is. So, no, not for me. I just think Champ will win. He'll probably go off favourite, and he'll be one for me to take on at Cheltenham because you're going to have 16 runners, and he's a 10-year-old running in a Grade 1 at Cheltenham, and they just have such a bad record. I mean, probably Nicky Henderson's probably the last one to do it with a 10-year-old in any Grade 1 with Sprinter Sacre, wasn't it? I suppose, but even so, they're not for me at that level at the festival. But tomorrow, he'll win, and then he'll be one to take on in March.
Okay. Yeah, I tend to think at the top level, the further you go, the harder it is when you get a bit older as well.
Exactly. So,
yeah.
I mean, the point. It might be. It doesn't look a particularly good year, does it? If Classical Dreams got that bomb out in him, obviously, and there's nothing brilliant there. I mean, if I was going to back anything now, it'd probably be Flooring Porter again.
But, I mean, you say. I mean, it might not be. Oh my God, we're going to get a vintage winner, but we could have Champ, Flooring Porter, Classical Dream, Time Hill, Royal Kahala, Sporting John. So we've got at least 6 genuine challenges, and it could be a very entertaining race at the very least. And if Champ wins tomorrow, of course he's going to shorten up. And of course Paisley Park, who we keep writing him off, and we keep thinking he's going to bow out and maybe take a bit of time in the field. The way he races doesn't necessarily make me think that he's going to be very good relaxed in a field. So he comes back for the Cleve Hurdle tomorrow, of course, where he has a very good record. But are you all aboard the Champ train as well, Simon?
Yeah, I mean, listen, 6 favourites have won this in the last 9 years. He was brilliant last time out. I'm thrilled that John O'Neill Jr. is sticking, being stuck with obviously that was his first Grade 1 winning the long walk, and he gets to obviously ride him again, hopefully ride him at Cheltenham. And all the money really has come for him. And McFabulous has been quite well backed. Paisley Park's drifting like a barge, out to around sort of 6-1 in places. We're still 9-2, but it looks like it's all one-way traffic in the wrong direction for him. And that's mad when you think he did actually win the long walk last year and, was in reasonable form even last year, and yet he seems to be sort of now completely deserted. So I think Champ's going to win. There's a couple of specials here, 100-30 to win this and win the Stairs, although he's only 11-4 to win the Stairs. I suppose he will shorten if he wins, so you can see the angle on that. And to win by over 5 lengths, Champ is 9-4 from 15-8, and it is conceivable he could just absolutely destroy these tomorrow. So I don't think that's a shocker either.
Okay, very well. Champ and Chantry House to both win by over 10 lengths, and Hackup at Cheltenham making us all look stupid. Do you have a bet for that?
Well, I have got Chantry House and Champ to both win by over 2.5 lengths, and that's 4-1 from 100 to 30.
There you go. A little bit of a price boost there. A whipping to the back post. Simon Clare nods it in. And Champ 8 to 15 then for the Cleve Hurdle. Paul Kealy.
Yeah, Champ will win.
Okay. Tom.
Yeah, it's only Champ in that race, really.
Okay, very well. 2 for Champ, 3 for Champ. Simon Clare.
Champ.
There you go. Champ. Adamant says favourite horse, Champ will win. No debate needed. Oh, wasted 5 minutes there.
Sorry, lads.
What a waste of time. Now, let's move on to Doncaster then. The Skybet Handicap Chase here, a traditionally red-hot handicap, but if anything, even better this year. We've had some fantastic handicap chases. The Thyestes on Thursday was an absolute corker, and this is also a cracking lineup, headed by another horse that we're going to have an interesting chat about, trained by Nicky Henderson, Fusel Raffles, who's got... yeah, I mean, no one's on the fence about these Henderson horses, are they? 9 to 2, Cap de Nord 6 to 1, De Machine 7 to 1, Cap Course 15 to 2, De Becce is 8 to 1 with Midnight Shadow at 9s, Canelo 12 to 1, Storm Control at 14 to 1. 17 runners here, Tom. Although, admittedly, like most of the handicap chases we talk about, Doncaster, like every other track, you can often thin them down to 4 or 5 after a few fences. But Fusel Raffles up to back in trip. Will the extra distance and the slightly slower pace help him jump better?
Not convinced about him at the prices. It's exactly for the exact reasons you say. I think he needs to improve his jumping. I didn't really like Captain Orr. He's sort of in the Chantry House camp as well, isn't he? Bad run last time at Kempton. They're sort of hoping that he bounced back. Same with Canelo, who was 3rd or 4th in this race last year and is back dropping down in the weights. He's had visors on and off, and so there's a few there at the top of the market I didn't like. BBC or whatever he's called is an 11-year-old now, so he was off. So I thought this was a good race, actually. I thought it was a good race for a bet and a good race for a possible upset. There was quite a few sort of that people haven't latched onto, sort of at big prices that I thought could go well. The 3 or 4 I like were Midnight Shadow, who I thought has to prove himself at the trip, but is in very good form. I thought he was too big a price on his form this year. But he wasn't the top of my list. The 3 I liked best were Storm Control for Kerry Lee, Hurricane Harvey, and the other Kerry Lee horse, the Machine. The one I like most, though, is Storm Control, actually. People have him down as a slogger. I don't think he's a slogger. I think he's a 3-miler on good ground, and I think that's exactly what he wants. If you think back to his only run at Doncaster, he gave weight and a beating to Sky Pirate, and he beat him very easily. Now, that one might not have been the Sky Pirate that we know now, but he still beat him, and he beat him comfortably. He won around Huntingdon, over 2 miles on good ground. I think the key to him is getting out in front on good ground over 3 miles. He led over the last or second last in the Kim Muir last year off a higher mark, and the key's got a claimer taking £10 off that rode him last year. So I did loads of research, tried to work out whether Dara, whatever his name is, can do 9 stone 12. But Kerry Lee did an interview saying that he was going to do 9 stone 12. I think if he gets out in front and loose on the lead, like in the same form he was at Newbury last time, I think they'll have trouble pegging him back, because I think that's exactly what he wants, 3 miles on good ground. So he would, my choice, Storm Control. But I do think the Machine's got a chance. And I think if Hurricane Harvey jumps, which has been a massive issue for him, because I backed him in the Badger Beer, and he didn't jump a fence and still came 3rd. It was a monstrous performance given how badly he jumped. If he was to get his act together, he is undoubtedly well handicapped. So they were my 3. I plumped for Storm Control, just because he was the one that I thought was in the best form. But I could see those 2 winning, and I'm sure Keels has got about 3 others that he'll throw in as well. But that was my one, Storm Control, with a little bit on Hurricane Harvey as well.
Yes, okay, there you go. It's a cracking race, and a few big price tips there from Tom. Storm Control being the main one of those at 14 to 1. There's not a chance in hell I'm going to turn to Paul Kealy and he's going to tip Fusel Raffles at 9 to 2, so we'll get a few more from him. And even horses that Tom hadn't mentioned, I think have got a cracking chance. Cap Course, I think, is fascinating. He travelled like a dream at Newbury. I think this track will suit. And you mentioned the Badger Beer. I thought Rocco looked a big price as well. I think he got out of his comfort zone at Cheltenham, and this will be more his kettle of fish. So that's we've got 17 runners. That's about 9 horses.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I wouldn't be 100% that Fusel Raffle really stays anyway. I mean, I know he won the Charlie All at Wetherby, but I mean that was because of everything being destroyed by Shan Bleu, and something had to plod over the line afterwards. So that would worry me, although he did run really well last time. Thing is, when you get a big field handicap like this and you can pick so many holes in the market leaders, it only actually gets worse the further down you go because they're priced for a reason. So I've ended up going further down and picking a horse who's well handicapped but can't jump, another horse that's well handicapped but on ancient form and might not stay. So the two of them are, Tom's already mentioned Hurricane Harvey. Now, again, he was third in that Badger Beer. He was one place ahead of Cap du Nord, who was a third of his price. The worry with him is, one is jumping and two is jumping in a big field because his best form is in smaller fields. But he did win the Grade 2 here at this meeting last year, albeit it wasn't the best one in the world. But he's got an awful lot of ability for a horse lurking on 1-3-2 if he ever gets it together. But the amount of times you say that about a horse, if he ever gets it together, they never actually do. Zanza.
I thought if you take a breath, I'm going in with Zanza.
You know what I mean? So there is that against him, but he is a big double figure price, so I'll have a go at him. And the other one was a Henderson second string, Janika, who I thought after Windop actually ran quite well beyond Vienna Court at Cheltenham last time. Now, he hasn't won for ages, not since he won the Horgan Gold Cup, and that was off a mark of 162, I think, and he's now he's dropped £16 actually for his last 3 chase runs. Now, they span 2 years because he's run over hurdles as well. He was 5th in the Gold Cup last year. And he's only ever tried 3 mile once, and that was over hurdles at the end of last year when he was beaten, a mile out. So it's nothing to do with that. Was nothing to do with stamina. I always thought he was worth trying at a trip. He did win over 2 miles 6 following on heavy ground in France as a 5-year-old. So there's every chance that he might stay. And he's dropped to a really good mark. He's got a fair amateur in Ben Bromley taking £7 off as well. And it's, second run after a Windop, double figure price. I think he's one of those who's going to go well for a long way. Whether he sees it out or not is another matter. But I can see him still being banging contention turning for home.
Yeah, this could be one of those races where we all think we're banging contention turning from home and something else comes and pips us, because Captain Orr's very well handicapped Canelo. I mean, Alan King has been in terrible form, but he got off holiday on Thursday and reliably in form. So
knock the staff back into shape, isn't it?
That's it, exactly. I mean, there's nothing worse than going on a holiday and missing a winner, especially if you train it. So the wide open Sky Bet handicap chase here. Again, I'm hoping to God you've got some extra places, Simon, because if I can sneak one home in 8th, I'll be thrilled to bits.
Well, it has to be in the 5th, in the 5, because we're betting 5 places. It's a really interesting race. The money's sort of coming for horses like D Machine. Obviously, there's money for Storm Control. I'm sure that's people latching onto Tom's tip. DBC, quite interesting. This also came from Tim Vaughan, so some really good form in his younger years. He ran him and came second. Hasn't been seen out since then. That was nearly a year ago, but. And in his blog, Dan's saying he's fit. They've got loads of work into him. They've got to run him. I think they've clearly got some eyes on prizes maybe from now on into the spring. So I think he's expected to run pretty well. In the last 9 years, three winners have come from 11, 10 and above, like the classier types. And the interesting thing there is the 2 horses who are at that top of the weight, Midnight Shadow and Nutswell, both stepping dramatically up in trip. And I do like Midnight Shadow. He's a really consistent horse. But it's a cracking race. I backed Janika in the Coral Cup. It was interesting hearing Paul talk about him because he ran quite well that day, and obviously trying this trip, he looks quite reasonably well handicapped. So make a case for a few, but I'll probably stick with Midnight Shadow here.
Okay, we're going to have it's 7 o'clock already, but let's round that up because I can't keep up with what we've tipped. Paul Kealy, what have you gone for here?
Yes, I have gone for Janika and Hurricane Harvey.
Okay, Janika and Hurricane Harvey. Tom?
Storm Control.
Storm Control it is. I will go mainly for Cap Course with a little saver on Rocco at a big price. Simon?
Midnight Shadow. We have got a fun in the no special. 9-4 for a female trainer to train the winner here. And given that Tom likes the Machine and Storm Control and made a positive comment about Midnight Shadow, maybe it's going to be a lady collecting the trophy at the end of the race.
Yeah, you've also got Nutswell and Cloudy Glen and running for you as well. So there we go, 9-4 out from 7-4 for the Sky Bet Chase. Now we're 2 minutes late, so let's rattle through the last. Although I was looking forward to having a debate with Paul because we're going to be completely in different camps here for this Ballymore Novices Hurdle, where Hillcrest is 6-4 favourite, Balco Coastal is 2-1, North Lodge is 9-2, a different kind at 10s, Picanha is 14s, Harper's Brook 20-1, outsider of the lots. 4 really, 5 maybe, 6 even, in-form horses with impressive wins to their name. Tom, before me and Paul completely disagree with each other.
I want to hear your disagreement, so then I don't have to do any work. Come on.
Fair enough. Okay, I've been looking forward to Balco Coastal stepping up in trip. His sire, we had Franco de Port the other day, improved for the extra stamina. Syrian for Longe. We've also had Bacardi's as well. Really good speed figure at Huntington. The second he beat Ludlow last time out could turn out to be a very nice French recruit. Yeah, I'm going to have to put all the Henderson horses in multiples at this rate, but I'm really looking forward to him stepping up in
the
trip.
muggy Hendo Acker can't have that. Can we? What's going on?
It came off the other day, the other Saturday.
Yeah, I know everyone has them. Drives me mental. What's
Yeah,
going on? I mean, the fascination with things, all things Hendo made Hillcrest a really good price earlier in the week. He was 3-1 with one firm. He couldn't believe it. I actually make him a shade of odds on. His form is ace. He's already dealt with I Am Maximus, and Henry Daly is so excited about him. He just really looks the part, this horse. I think he's a very, very good horse. And Balco Coastal, and what he's done so far over hurdles, is that going to have to improve at the very least £10 to get near him, even getting £5 off him. He just hasn't done that much yet. Now he might do with the extra trip, but you give me odds against Hillcrest and a match against them too, and I think I definitely think Hillcrest is better than the rest, and I'll bite your hand off. So yeah, Hillcrest will win.
So what price are you giving me Balco Coastal then?
Well, I don't have to. But you can. I can take the price whatever I want. Can't
But
I?
if you think Hillcrest wants to surely be odds on,
I back it at odds against, don't I? I don't give you an inflated price about your horse, do I? That's a silly idea. I take the value where it's best for me.
Me told, isn't it? That's me told.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just it was a tongue-in-cheek sporting comment, but I've been kicked out the shop and barred for life.
Get back in your box, Brierley.
Kealy's Bookmakers. I'm going to have a picture behind the desk. Right, Tom. In one sentence or less, what wins this? North Lodge, is it?
Oh, blimey, I don't know. I know for a fact they think Balco Coastal's totally different class to I Am Maximus, but then Hillcrest beat I Am Maximus very easily the other day. I won't have a bet. I thought A Different Kind was quite a big price myself. I thought he was really impressive when he beat Green Book. I think that's really good form. He's done nothing wrong. Whether he's in the class of Hillcrest, I don't know. I'm not going to have a bet. I personally think Hillcrest will stay too well for the other ones and probably still win. But it's not a race. I'm not as confident as Heels by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay, very well. Simon, what price are you giving me Balco Coastal?
I'll give you 2-1 because that's what Coral are offering. 2-1. I mean, I think this is a really good race. This North Lodge, it was really tough ground at H. Really soft ground, and he won on debut that day. He's been really well back this morning from 6 down to 9-2. North Lodge, a different kind on handicap ratings, giving Green Book £5 and a beating. I think it's a good race, but I love Hillcrest. I know Henry Daly thinks he's great. Something about a big strapping horse, which is just really appealing, and I'm hoping he'll win. He's been really well backed. He's now 6-4, and we're offering a special here, 16-1 Hillcrest to win tomorrow and win any race at Cheltenham, depending on which route he goes, whether he goes to the Ballymore or the Albert Bartlett. So, and I'd love to see that too, really, for Henry Daly, and he looks an exciting horse.
Okay, very well. Paul Kealy then.
Hillcrest. Yeah, Hillcrest beats Yorman.
Okay, very well. Tom Segal.
I think Hillcrest will probably win. I hope Hillcrest wins. It's nice when we have different trainers having good horses, isn't it? So I hope Hillcrest wins.
Yes, I agree. My heart thinks that, but we've got bills to pay. And Simon Clare, what wins?
Oh, Hillcrest, yeah.
Okay, very well. Lovely stuff. I don't think I've said a single thing that anyone's agreed with on tonight's show, which could go either way, let's be honest. But thanks for watching. Again, that brings the show to an end. In the know at Cheltenham and Doncaster tomorrow. Big shout out to everyone who's been watching. Sam Caney thinks Hillcrest will win easily at Balco Coastal, only won by a length last time out. And a couple of others as well. Ed Donny, it's definitely not good ground, according to plenty of people at home. So in light of a fantastic Saturday afternoon, let's get those naps from our tipsters then. Starting off with Mr. Paul Kealy. The best bet on Saturday?
Yeah, price has gone a little bit, but I think tomorrow is the day for Beakstown. I think that race is just tailor-made for it.
Okay, Beakstown it is then.
120, that is, sorry.
There you go, 120. Lovely stuff. Tom, nap of the day?
I'm going to back Storm Control in the Sky Bet Chase. I just think everything's right for him.
Okay, lovely stuff. I'm going to nap Balco Coastal in the last, stepping up in trip and and breaking the hearts of everyone here who's betting through trainer quotes, and we hope they win. Oh, come on, guys. Balka Coastal for me. Simon Clare?
Well, after all that work I did on the Cotswold Chase favourites record, I've got to go for I Right. I've just worked it out. It's like an algorithm.
Lovely stuff. Thank you ever so much, everyone. Last shout out to Devo at home, who says Keels didn't mention Cormier once.
Well, we haven't got. We weren't doing that race, were we? Yeah, opening race Cheltenham. Yeah, I do like Cormier. I think he's just always. I've always thought he'd win a decent prize, and you know, he was a big price with one firm earlier on in the day, and I managed to miss it, waiting for everybody else to go up, which rather annoyed me. But yeah, I think he'll run well. I think this track, particularly because he's a flat stayer, will suit him with just a couple of hurdles in the last mile.
Okay, very well. Well, we'll see if you can get a decent price at poor Kealy Bookmakers, although the customer service isn't that great. But thanks ever so much for watching. This has been In The Know. We'll be back in February, of course, for Cheltenham previews a go-go. Monday nights, Friday nights, and then, of course, we will see how they all go at the festival itself. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend.